Yes, Charleston White is correct. I'm a rapper, not a dealer. Be sure to catch my new show, 50 Cent, 50 Ways to Catch.
See, that Meech Home concert got the streets talking. The biggest Meech Home, the streets back. That's what I'm talking about. That's how real niggas come home and get it down. 50, who own your masters? Who own your masters? I buy your masters. You better. I will buy your master.
50 Cent recently took a direct jab at Big Meech after rumors surfaced that Rick Ross may have cost Meech a $120 million opportunity. Ross had been promising major film deals, large-scale projects, and a potential Hollywood breakthrough for Meech. However, none of it ever materialized. Now, Meech appears to have been left empty-handed, while 50 Cent turns the situation into an industry-wide punchline. Fans have even started speculating that the only way this could end is with Meech stepping into a boxing ring against 50. Meech versus 50. Now that would definitely attract attention, But let's take a step back and examine how this entire situation even began. After trying to distance himself from his past and start fresh, Big Meech believed he was on the verge of a major comeback.
February 13th, the Big Meech Home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This shit gonna be special. Epic. Get your tickets right now.
That's when Rick Ross entered the picture, bringing bold promises with him. He spoke about $120 million film deals, documentaries, and other ventures that sounded almost too big to believe. The way Ross was presenting it, you'd think Meech was heading straight into a Marvel-level career move. In this clip, Ross lays out those promises very clearly. There was no subtlety. He was acting as if production companies were already signing off on deals. On paper, it looked like Meech was finally going to benefit from the name he built. But in reality, Ross didn't deliver on any of it. Instead, it appears he may have used Meech's reputation to elevate his own status, especially in his ongoing competition with 50 Cent.
I do want to do a BMF film because you've been entertained by a lackluster, small budget series. Now it's time to do a big budget film. Which director? Shout out to my homie, F. Gary Gray, Antoine Foucault, what's up? Tarantino, it's a lot of legends. This is gonna be big, I can feel it.
That long-standing rivalry with 50 Cent has always been out in the open. While Ross was focused on making big statements and drawing attention, 50 was the one actually investing money. He funded the BMF series, paid for Lil Meech's acting training, and gave him a real platform to succeed. These are documented efforts. In contrast, Ross's promises didn't lead to tangible results, and this wasn't just 50 Cent's perspective. Others close to the situation confirmed it. Tony Yayo, for example, explained who was truly behind the progress being made. Word on the street now is that Big Meech is genuinely frustrated and possibly broke, finally coming to terms with the idea that Rick Ross may have only connected with him to take indirect shots at 50 Cent. That's likely the most disappointing part, because instead of advancing like a boss, Meech ends up looking more like a piece in someone else's strategy. But those empty promises were just the beginning. Things escalated even more when Meech's own son got involved. Lil Meech was filmed hanging out with Ross at a club, and that's when everything really started to spiral. Just a few days before, leaked messages had allegedly shown Lil Meech saying, "F Rose Ross." And then suddenly, there he was, right beside him, acting like none of that had ever been said. Fans were left confused, and the whole situation quickly became the talk of the town. The video went viral almost immediately. Flashing lights, a red-lit room, and right in the middle, Lil Meech and Rick Ross standing shoulder to shoulder. They were whispering to each other, taking pictures, and smiling like longtime friends. While everyone looked on in disbelief, it was a complete shift in narrative, and naturally, 50 Cent didn't stay quiet. He quickly jumped on social media and responded with one of his trademark jokes. He claimed that Ross had asked Lil Meech for his father's address so he could send some wings over from Wingstop. But that wasn't just a throwaway joke. It carried a message. 50 was essentially implying that Ross wasn't really helping build anything meaningful for Meech. He was just offering minor gestures, small-time favors, not real support. And if that seemed harsh, it didn't stop there. 50 then made an even more surprising claim about Lil Meech. Out of nowhere, he posted and later deleted a statement saying he had to personally step in and send Lil Meech to rehab. According to 50 Cent, Meech was showing up to the BMF set completely out of it, so much so that he reportedly threw up during a weapons training session. When they searched his vehicle, they allegedly found whippets hidden inside. 50 even mentioned that he wasn't initially familiar with what whippets were, he had to look it up online. He portrayed himself as the one stepping in to help Lil Meech avoid self-destruction, while suggesting that Meech's own father seemed to be endorsing the same reckless choices. And this wasn't just speculation. Lil Meech actually made headlines after being arrested at an airport, an incident that many saw as a clear sign of the direction things were heading. After 50 made all of this public, people began asking whether he was the one who actually prevented Lil Meech's career from going completely off track. But what really caught everyone off guard was that despite all this, Meech seemed to be aligning himself with Rick Ross instead of showing appreciation to 50. That's when things got even more complicated because someone else decided to speak up. Michael Rainey Jr., better known as Tariq from Power, added his voice to the situation. When asked during a live stream whether he felt bad for Lil Meech, he didn't hold back. The clip of Rainey's blunt response quickly gained traction online, and naturally, 50 Cent couldn't resist. He reposted the video with laughter and fully supported the comment. In fact, he quoted Michael's words in his own caption, making it clear he agreed completely. This wasn't just a casual share, it was a public endorsement, reinforcing the perception that 50 saw Lil Meech as lacking the toughness or discipline needed in this space. The timing couldn't have been worse for Meech, as it suggested he was starting to lose respect, not only from fans, but also from key figures connected to 50 Cent's circle. But the reality is, this tension didn't suddenly appear. It had been building for a while, starting all the way back at Big Meech's so-called Welcome Back concert.
February 13th, the Big Meech home benefit concert. It's gonna be iconic. Too many names to list, but let me salute some of the legends. Lil Baby, Boss Man D-Lo, 21 Savage, Sexy Red, Ricky Rose. Now, this the first time it's ever been done. Me performing BMF with the icon himself. This shit gonna be special. Epic. Get your tickets right now.
When Meech was released, many expected a major celebration. Something huge, featuring some of the biggest names in hip-hop. It was meant to be a milestone event, but instead of highlighting 50 Cent, the person who transformed Meech's life, story into a hit TV series, Meech leaned on Rick Ross to promote the event. There's even a clip circulating where Ross is promoting it like it would be one of the greatest comeback concerts ever. But the whole thing fell apart. The concert never materialized. Promoters pulled out, the momentum died down, and what was supposed to be a breakthrough moment ended in disappointment. For 50, that failure wasn't just a letdown, it was personal. After everything he contributed to the BMF show and to Lil Meech's rise, being sidelined in favor of Ross came off as a serious slight. That's when 50 took a hard stance, accusing Big Meech of making private deals with federal agents and calling him out all over social media. What made matters worse? Aligning with Ross only intensified the backlash. To many, it appeared that Meech had swapped loyalty for popularity. And 50 didn't waste time amplifying that impression, using his platform to consistently troll the situation. What was intended to be a defining moment in Meech's return quickly became the turning point where public support began to fade. Just like that, the narrative shifted from celebrating a legend to questioning whether he was compromising everything he stood for.
I'm gonna address this because I'm not trying to let nobody trick me off the streets. But I never folded, never told, never will. Death before dishonor, always with me.
That's when Meech finally decided to respond. Out of nowhere, he posted an old photo of himself standing next to 50, but with one major addition, a large rat emoji covering 50's face. It was far from subtle. It was a direct accusation, essentially, calling 50 a snitch. And he didn't stop there. In the caption, he called 50 an internet gangster, implying that 50 talks tough online but doesn't act the same in real life. Rick Ross, of course, wasted no time jumping in. He immediately added to the situation, mocking 50 for being upset over their recent connection. Fans immediately recognized it as a coordinated move. Ross publicly backing Meech appeared to be a deliberate jab at 50 Cent. The trolling quickly turned into a spectacle, with Ross hyping up Meech like he had just joined his anti-50 alliance. Then came the viral clip everyone was talking about, Ross openly mocking 50, laughing about how upset he was seeing Meech right beside him. The message was clear. This wasn't just about friendship. It was a strategic partnership built around a shared rivalry.
I took a picture with Rick Ross. Put your back against the wall and just slide.
But many couldn't ignore the contradiction. It was 50 Cent who had actually provided Lil Meech with real opportunities. Acting lessons, roles on television, consistent income, while Ross had only brought flashy appearances and unfulfilled promises.
Bad for Lil Meech. I don't feel bad for no grown man on this planet. Like, I'm a grown man. Why the f I gotta feel bad for another grown man? Like, you a grown man too. What you asking for my sympathy for? You be alright. Ho ass.
Yet, for some reason, Meech seemed more enthusiastic about aligning with Ross than with the man who had helped launch his career. That unexpected shift in loyalty left many confused, and it sparked a wild rumor that Meech was ready to fight. 50 Cent in real life after the rat emoji post and Ross's continued trolling. Social media lit up with speculation about a potential celebrity boxing match between 50 Cent and Big Meech. Some found it amusing, while others saw it as disappointing. Here was a man once respected in the streets, now being linked to a boxing match for attention, something that felt more like a reality show stunt than anything serious. But what really fueled the rumor wasn't the memes. It was Meech himself. When asked whether he'd ever retaliate against 50, he hinted, possibly joking, that he'd be willing to step in the ring if necessary, even if it wasn't meant to. Be serious. The internet didn't hesitate. The story took off instantly. And once boxing talk begins circulating on blogs, it spreads faster than anything else. Suddenly, people were debating ticket prices, pay-per-view sales, and who would win if the fight actually happened. But just as the hype reached its peak, WAC 100 entered the conversation, and that's when the narrative shifted completely. According to WAC, this situation wasn't just about loyalty or Ross, it was about hidden truths. He claimed that someone close to Meech, Tammy Cowan, had once confided in 50 Cent, revealing that Meech had allegedly cooperated with federal authorities in other criminal cases. WAC 100's revelation hit hard. If his claims were true, then this conflict wasn't just about online trolling, it was about uncovering a secret that could permanently alter Big Meech's legacy. WAC didn't hold back. He directly stated that Tammy Cowan, someone deeply trusted within Meech's inner circle, had once told 50 Cent that Meech had cooperated with federal authorities in other street-related cases. Allegations like that carry serious weight, especially for someone with Meech's background. And the timing made it worse. Already facing criticism online, being called broke, mocked for the canceled concert, and ridiculed for aligning with Ross, Meech was now facing something even more damaging. The idea of working with federal agents is considered a permanent stain in street culture. Once that kind of suspicion takes hold, it's nearly impossible to shake off. Soon, the entire conversation shifted. It was no longer just about social media jabs or celebrity boxing rumors. People were now questioning whether Meech's entire image had been built on a false foundation. At that point, 50 didn't need to add much. The internet took over. Memes began circulating. Old interviews were brought back into focus. Some even speculated that Meech's apparent loyalty to Ross had more to do with protecting certain relationships than anything else. For someone long viewed as a symbol of loyalty and discretion, even the mere suggestion of cooperating with law enforcement was enough to cause serious doubt. And of course, Ross responded, portraying 50 as simply trying to ruin Meech's name out of bitterness. But for many fans observing everything unfold, this felt like more than just a back and forth. It felt like real cracks were appearing in a legacy that had gone largely unquestioned for years. In essence, WAC was suggesting that Big Meech wasn't as committed to street loyalty as many believed. That's where 50's entire snitch narrative really took root. WAC didn't stop there either. He added that Tammy may have had her own reasons for revealing this information. Maybe she felt abandoned after Meech's incarceration. Or perhaps she was frustrated over his attempts to reclaim his life rights. Rights that had already been legally arranged with 50 for the BMF series. That particular detail made the situation even more uncomfortable. It suggested this wasn't just a personal betrayal, but a business relationship gone sideways. And if there was any truth to it, Meech could find himself in a very difficult position. Imagine someone from your inner circle, the one who knows your entire history, being the same person feeding damaging information to your opponent. Whack didn't leave much to the imagination. He flat out suggested that Tammy might have been providing 50 Cent with inside information the whole time. That alone got fans talking, because if the attacks weren't coming from outside the circle, but from someone inside, then the damage wasn't just external, it was internal. Whether Wack was revealing actual facts or simply stirring controversy, one thing became obvious. It gave 50 even more material to continue mocking. And fans didn't waste time jumping in with jokes and memes. One moment that caught everyone's attention was when Big Meech appeared in public wearing Kanye West's iconic graduation jacket. On the surface, it looked like just another stylish outfit, but the symbolism didn't go unnoticed. Some fans questioned whether Meech was trying to say he'd moved past the street life, or if he was indirectly mocking the persistent snitch, rumors that wouldn't go away. That jacket wasn't just a fashion choice, it felt like a statement. Observers quickly noted that Graduation is the same Kanye album that outsold 50 Cent's project during their high-profile 2007 face-off. While some laughed it off as an amusing coincidence, others believed Meech wore it intentionally, as a subtle dig at 50 Cent and a reference to a moment of public defeat. Either way, the message landed. It looked like Meech might have been using that moment to tap into old tensions and stir the conversation even more. But what really stood out wasn't the outfit, it was 50 Cent's silence. Normally, Curtis Jackson is the first to call out a questionable look or post something mocking online. But this time, nothing. No tweet, no meme, not even a sarcastic comment. And that silence spoke volumes. It led many to speculate that 50 was staying quiet on purpose, holding back and preparing for something more impactful. Because if there's one thing fans know, when 50 passes up an easy opportunity to troll, he's usually setting up for a bigger move. And when he finally responds, it lands hard. By now, it's obvious. This isn't just casual trolling anymore. 50 Cent appears fully locked in on Big Meech, and it's starting to feel personal. Most conflicts fade after a few weeks, but in this case, every move seems to trigger a new reaction. Some believe 50 feels genuinely betrayed. He helped launch Lil Meech's career, gave him a major platform, only to see him align with Rick Ross, one of 50's longtime rivals. Others think it goes beyond that. For 50, this may be more about control and influence. It's not just about winning. It's about making sure no one challenges him without consequences. Letting something like this slide might be seen as weakness. And that's never been part of 50 Cent's image. If this back and forth ever escalates beyond social media and turns into a real boxing match, it won't just be a spectacle. It'll represent the climax of a feud that's already gone too. One person focused on protecting what he's built, the other looking to dismantle it, whether out of frustration or for entertainment. And based on how things are playing out, it's starting to feel less like speculation and more like something big is already in motion. What's your take? Will Big Meech finally push back? Or is 50 Cent about to end this story on his own? Terms? Let us know in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because whatever's coming next, it's going to make noise.